Welcome back to Aliens and Angels podcast. Welcome to our weekly live Q&A community chat. And today I'm very pleased to bring you two very special guests, Preston Dennett and Dolly Safran. Dolly Safran began her life journey as an intergenerational contactee. Her father, an airborne ranger in the U.S. Army, was also a contactee from an early age. Growing up was challenging for Dolly as she experienced episodes of disappearing from her home, psychic phenomena, and unseen friends. After gaining awareness at age 14, she realized that she was being taught by and working with ET. Dolly's decision to break her silence is now an imperative for her. Dolly is a fully conscious experiencer and the subject of one of Preston Dennett's latest books called Symmetry, a True UFO Adventure. Preston Dennett began investigating UFOs and the paranormal in 1986 when he discovered that his family, friends, and coworkers were having dramatic, unexplained encounters. Since then, he has interviewed hundreds of witnesses and investigated a wide variety of paranormal phenomena. He is a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, also known as MUFON. He's a ghost hunter, a paranormal researcher, and the author of over 30 books and more than 100 articles on UFOs and the paranormal. You can find more about Preston Dennett at www.prestondennett.weebly.com. Please post your questions and comments during the live chat. You're welcome to join our Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. And all of the links are featured below in the description. Check me out, subscribe to my channels, leave me a comment, like my videos, and share this content with your friends. So I'm going to bring on Dolly, and Preston is going to join us momentarily. We're having a few technical issues, but we're getting that sorted out now. Hi, Dolly. How you doing?
Karen, I am so awesome. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so glad to be here. I miss talking.
My pleasure. Sorry, my pleasure. So I thought while we're waiting for Preston, how about if I just take a look at the chat?
Okay. Hi, everybody, by the way.
Heidi. Sorry, what?
I said hi, everybody, by the way.
Oh, hello from Denmark. I am looking forward to this interview, an interview with two amazing and very inspiring guests. Thanks for bringing them on here, Karen. Now, Dolly, I'm going to read the comments out because this is also going to go out on all audio podcasts.
Cool.
And
okay.
I just thought it would be nice to, to share what's going on with the live chat. Janice Conant says, hi, Dolly and Preston. Love this picture. I have held and rocked a baby with an ET watching me. Send it love. And let's see who else we got in the chat today. Oh, we've got Woo Riders DG. He says hi to everybody.
Hi, Woo Riders.
And he also says, Dolly, Friday I had 2 lightning strikes come very close to our vehicle. The second one was less than 200 yards away and time stood still. I also saw a blackish chrome colored saucer to the right.
That's crazy. I would think about that real hard. Like I said, ETs are not here right now. That would be back engineered. And we've had
Yeah.
really serious lightning lately because of the CMEs we've got coming in. We're in connection with our sun, circuit. And when the sun ejects energy at us, it gathers in our planet and then ejects ground to ceiling lightning. And so they cluster. And so that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Heidi Hansen says, "Hi, Dolly and Preston. Big hugs to both of you."
Hugs, Heidi. Heidi is an author in Denmark, and we've had her on our show actually. And she's
Wonderful.
incredible. You should ask her on your show. No kidding.
Yeah. Well, now I know I will.
Okay.
Heidi, why don't you send me a message on Messenger or email me, and let's tee up a time. Don Rogers at March 4th Production says, "Hello, all. Nice to meet you, Dolly, and always nice to see Preston and Karen."
Hello. Nice to meet you, Don.
Lou Weezy says, "Hello, Dolly, Preston, and Karen. Looking forward to watching on this Sunday afternoon."
Love it. Every time somebody says Sunday afternoon, I've got that song in my head instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday.
Okay. So, for those in the live chat, who don't know or know that Dolly is a lifetime experiencer. Her experiences are what we call the grays. And before we get, if you have any questions, put them in the live chat. And I'm sure Dolly would be happy to answer them. And as I mentioned, Preston will be along shortly. And but before we get started, Dolly, is there anything you want to tell people? Would you have a message for people about your contact with the Greys? Why are they here? What do they want? Are they here to elevate humanity? And if so, how? Whatever you want.
Basically, the first message from AT is for everybody to realize that they're us, we are them, and we are all one, and to empathize with that idea. The second one from them would be that we need to awaken as a population on this planet, as humanity needs to awaken. And that means learning to use your abilities to meditate, to seek spirituality, to seek um, uh, helping the earth keep you healthy. In other words, clean up, detox yourself, eat the right foods, that kind of thing. And the third message, fourth message is actually we have a lot facing us right now, and we all need to be aware of that. And we need to concentrate on healing ourselves right now. And that's the most important thing in their mind for us. When we start doing that, everything else will kind of fall into place and understanding will come from that. And that's their most important messages that they send. That it means the most for us if we think about those things and actually try to achieve them.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, before we came on the show, Dolly and I were just chatting a bit, and we both came to realizations that we had to take responsibility for our own health. And, and it's commonly known that the better our health, I call it the temple body, the more frequency we can hold, and the easier it is for us to make contact and to have these wonderful paranormal experiences that I believe that's part of our birthright. I think every human being had the ability at one time to use telepathy. And
Yes.
boy, I'll tell you, what a game changer, because words are a huge source of misunderstanding. Dolly, do you have anything you want to say about that?
That's true. You're right. Our body is a temple. It houses us, our consciousness. And if it's not operating properly, consciousness can't operate with us at all. It would get cut off. And the powers that be in the world have kind of pushed everybody away from that so that we'd be more willing to do what they want us to do and not what we should do for ourselves. We are people who have that right. It is a birthright. We're born with the equipment. We should be able to use it. It is so important for us to recognize that there's no way to help anybody unless we first are healed and help ourselves and innately know what that entails. And then you can spread that everywhere else. But it always begins with us, each of us individually. It's important. The healthier your body, the more the energy works properly in the body. We're grounded. Our earth has resonant energy in it. Our sun has energy. We get energy from both sides. We get energy from everywhere else in the universe. And if we're not sound, physically sound, that messes with us really big time. It can make you sick. And the idea is to find health first, then work on the mind and the spirit. It's just so important. And in my case, I'll be honest with you, I had to have a kidney transplant because I was poisoned. And they put you on steroids, which is really, really, really tough on the body. And I used to be really thin, and it put weight on me like big time. And I woke up one day and said, I have to get a handle on this. I'm not operating at 100%. And I went on this quest last November to bring it back down. And I've lost like 60 pounds so far. And I'm healthier for it. I'm operating at better. I'm not quite 100% yet, but my health is my responsibility. I don't have ET here with me right now, backing me up. It's all up to me, like it is everybody else. And I thought of it as a struggle before I really put my foot down about it. And it's not really. It's just every day you do one new thing. You just work on it every day. Don't look back, go forward. And here I am. And I'm happy to say that it's working. And I know personally, if it's working for me on steroids, it can work for anybody to get healthy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had I don't want to get too much into the medical here. I want to get back to the chat, but I want to say that I also had an experience where I had a medical condition. I had to be put on steroids. I was on prednisone, and oh my gosh, did that mess up my body. So I'm assuming you have to take it ongoing. So you're kind of battling an uphill climb, but you're doing so well, and you look so well, Dolly. I'm so proud of you. So let's just take a look at I don't want to cut you off. If you want to say anything about that, Dolly, you go ahead.
We're good. We're good. What's everybody
Okay.
asking?
So Don Rogers at March 4th Productions wants to know, what does Dolly think of the theory that the Greys are enslaved by reptilians and they are sick of it and they make mistakes in order to draw attention because they want out as well?
Sometimes we have to be blunt, and so therefore I will be blunt. That's misinformation. It's not true, any of it. Reptilians are from this planet. They were here before we were. We did not originate on Earth. We originated somewhere else. They're indigenous, I guess is a good word for that. They are sentient beings, and they live alongside of us, just out of our sight. The governments of this world, the shadow governments, have gotten their hands on them and are using them, period. They are not, they are as bad off as we are for that in respect. But they're not working with the Greys. The Greys treat them the way they treat us. They're worried about them just like they're worried about us. They know they belong here. And anything that you hear to that effect is BS, and don't go there. It's not true. If you can show me evidence, show me direct evidence, then I will consider what you say. But nobody can. It's all gossip. It's all innuendo, and it is not true. Not true at all. From my experience and my knowledge of what goes on around here, trust me, it's not true. Okay. Research. Do that. Do the research. You'll find out. Okay.
There are so many theories out there, Dolly, you probably know this. There are hundreds of experiences with that that they say are with the Greys, and they make them in each experience, they look different, they have a different biology, they have different agendas, they have, and it makes me wonder how many well, I guess they're all we're all one species, but how many races of Greys could there be? And what keeps them from crashing into each other and bumping into each other and competing agendas? Dolly, what do you say about that?
All right. Well, we have to stop see, Swedish. It's hard for me to say some words in English. Anthropomorphizing. In other words, making us them, and how they think from our perspective. No, don't do that. Doesn't exist. Everybody who is biological from one end of the universe to the other has DNA. All our DNA is related. That's why ET's message is you are us, we're you, we're all one. And we're all humanoid, all of us. There is no race, there is ethnicity. We are all the same thing. We have minds, bodies. We're bipedal. We have two arms. We have fingers change a little bit, but that's a genetic trait. We're related to all animals. We're related to all living matter, including grass, bananas, all of it throughout the entire universe. So we have to stop thinking of ourselves as separate or different. Humanity teaches you to think that way, not ET. We are all told we're different. We're all told we're different races. No, we're not. We're all human. We're all Homo sapiens sapien here. That's one race. Ethnicity means different color hair, eyes, and skin. That's it. Different heights. We all come out in different heights. So does ET. ET has different ethnicities like we do, and they're identical to ours. They're very tall grays. They're like our size grays. And then there are grays who are very, you know, troll-like. You know, they're small, you know, midget size. The really teeny weeny grays are not like human. They're made, manufactured. They're biological AI, and they're very frail looking, and you can tell when you see them. Oh yeah, that's AI. There are other ethnicities throughout the universe. There are what you would call the Nordic tall whites. That's not the name they use for themselves, but I'm going to give it to you that way. They're very humanoid. There are billions of humanoid ethnicities across the universe, but we're all related to one another. There are some of us that are giant sized, like the Anunnaki. They have 6 fingers and 6 toes, and they have wings on their back. They come from a low gravity world that is pretty big, and they fly there. They can't fly here. They're too heavy to fly here. So most of the time you see them wearing something to hide their wings back in the old days when they first showed up. It boggles my mind that we ethnic or racify everything. All ETs are related, all related to us. We can breed back and forth with them. Think about that. You can't breed with something you're not related to at all. We have species like bananas and fruits and vegetables and grass and dogs and cats and zebras and that. Those are different species, but they're still DNA biologically like us. There are animals and fruits here that are so close to our DNAs to boggle your mind. We're so close to bananas, it's unbelievable. And the bonobo, South America, the gorilla, bonobo gorilla, it's a short little one, has 99.4% of our DNA. Think about that. It is
Wow.
seriously interesting that if you open your mind and you start looking at science from a perspective going for clarification or into the scientific record, which is empirical, it doesn't make it into the record unless it's absolutely true. And read that instead of believing all the gossip that you hear or believing somebody tell you this is what you are. I can't tell you how offended I get for everybody that somebody has the audacity to tell you who you are. You are who you are, and you should know that. You're autonomous. Start standing up for it. Don't believe. Research. Do it for yourself. Get into it. You will figure it out. And the first thing I want you to do is go into a medical library, get into the books, and look up humanity, earthlings, and find out what race we are considered. And you will see it in black and white. Homo sapiens sapien. As a registered nurse, I deal with people all the time, all different races, ethnicities, well, not races, but ethnicities, short, fat, skinny, you name it, children alike. And when I look at you, I see a human being, all of you, and we treat you identically the same way. The same medicine that works for me works for everybody. You can't be a different race. We are the same. Stop, when you fill out the paperwork, stop putting your ethnicity as a race. Just write, I'm a Homo sapiens sapien, and leave it at that. Quit telling them that it's okay to separate you. Be real, be truthful, be honest about it. And that way we can cure a lot of the BS that goes on in this world about thinking we're all different. We are not. We're the same. I'm on a sorry, but that's it. That's what it is.
Well said. Janice Conant says, Dolly, have you ever interacted with a positive reptilian or a reptilian hybrid? Are some trying to help us too?
Reptilians got their own lives to lead. They live in a different, we all have our own ecological niche. Okay. We have to live a certain way because it's healthier for us to live that way. Alligators live in the swamps because it's healthier for them to live that way. Most reptilians need certain uh, bio areas to be in because they can't exist. So you're not going to see a reptilian in the city. They can't survive. And I guarantee you they're not living in the sewers. That would kill them. All biological entities have ranges of life-giving possibilities for them. And if they go outside that, they will die. We have evidence of that every day. We couldn't live in the desert without water and shelter, could we? We would die. Well, they can't live without a certain environment to be in, and it's not where we are, it's where they are. We're encroaching on them. They do their own thing. They're their own people and their own thing. And they pretty much stay the heck away from us unless the shadow governments get a hold of them, and then it's another story. There are no hybrided reptilians. They are who they are. When you say hybrided, that means they have the ability to find other reptilians and change their DNA. And if they're doing that, I can't even begin to tell you how evil that is. And I've heard a couple of stories that are valuable to me to know, and I'm not going to repeat them because it's gossip and I can't prove what I say. But I will tell you that, yes, I've heard of some of the shadow government messing with them. But they shouldn't be touched. We shouldn't be touched. I consider myself a hybrid only in that my breeding, who I am, is a little bit different in that my recent DNA is slightly different. I have an injection of DNA from a parent that is not here, from here. I have 8 chains of DNA that don't belong from here. They belong from the tall grays and the tall whites. And it intermixed, and that's how I became who I am. It was a decision to do so with a lot of heavy thinking about it, and it was done so that I would be who I am right now. It didn't alter my human existence at all. It didn't alter my thinking. All it did was give me an advantage not to be programmed by the people here and to be unafraid of everything. And I have a few small physical differences in that I'm very strong. I'm Amazonish. I have very big bones. You can't, it's serious. I have physical traits, I guess is what I'm saying. But so in that, I have recent ET interjection of DNA into me. They didn't take my mom on board. They didn't change her or anything like that. They just, when she became pregnant, I was a twin. My twin went with them, and I stayed here. And it was her mother that had the injection of DNA, not my mother. And it's complicated, but that's what they did. So that makes me a hybrid. I'm not an experiment. They knew exactly what they were doing. They're a billion years in advance of us, and this is not a game to them. This is life, and it's helping us. If you want to say we have hybrids on Earth, historically, oh, yes, we do. People like Tesla, people like Leonardo da Vinci, people who are unbelievably gifted are injected into our population, but they're us. We're not separate. We are the same as you. Doesn't make me any different at all. I have hybridized children that are not with me. I'm the mother of 4, and they are more succinctly, how would I put this? We're all the same. So it's not like, when you're breeding dogs and you look for traits, physical traits that you want to breed into the breed, and you say, okay, this dog's got this dog's got that, whatever, or even horses. And you put 2 together because you're hoping that the genetics line up a certain way to produce this animal in better condition, trait-wise. That's what's happening for ET and us. They're giving us the chance to move our genes back up with them, and our children are going with them now in actually in waiting for us to come back with them. But we're the same. It's not a hybridization. It's a going in the same DNA. Just we're trait building right now. And we have to, because we're being bombarded by all kinds of energy, and it's taking our DNA out. And they want us to strengthen back up and breed back with them so that we're whole again. Those of us that have here and have been going through this, all your contact, all this time, it's been about holding you up physically. It's about helping you overcome gamma radiation exposure that's really high. I mean, if you look at the population, the cancer that exploded, the autoimmune disorders, the mental disorders, the heart disorders, I mean, the list is endless. They've been holding us up physically and helping our DNA to stay up high enough to make it to the point where when they do come back, they will be picking us up. And we're idiots here because we're not paying attention to that because we're not allowed to know the truth. And that's why I'm talking, because we have a shadow government that's blinding you to this. And they have their reasons, and it's not okay.
Yep. Yep. I agree. It's not okay.
Right.
So Namaste says, Dolly, would it be fair to say that all living beings that inhabit avatar bodies and have souls are sparks from the same all one spirit?
Right. Your body's not an avatar. That's a human idea. Strike it. You were told to think that, and it is absolutely not true. Your body, your DNA is absolutely coded to your consciousness. Every time you re-exist, in other words, every time you come into the third dimension and are reborn, your DNA is actually your DNA. And it doesn't matter who your parents are because we're already related, but it dials up just for your consciousness to anchor back to. And everything that you are is part of that code so that you're here as yourself. This body is your vehicle, nobody else's. Nobody has the keys to it, only you. Okay? We are all the same. We are all in source the same. Every entity across the universe, all of us come from source. If God created the universe, why wouldn't we all be related to one another? Think about that. I mean, how do I access the serious truth of that? The Almighty Creator of everything, and the ET calls it the All Mind, okay, is the author of us, okay, and gave us autonomy so that we could reach where it's at. And I mean, why would you have 50 billion differences when we're all really the same thing? It doesn't work that way. It created us all equally the same everywhere. How you ascend or how you use your knowledge or how you become wise is strictly up to you. But each body that you use in this dimension is yours, and it's your DNA that comes back every time for it. When the Da Vinci Code came out, I thought they were going to reveal that. Nope. They gave it some weird story. Our DNA is our DNA. It belongs to you and you alone. It's your consciousness. If you think you're resonant, you have energy, that energy creates DNA in this body, in this dimension. And it's not that complicated to think about it. You are who you are. You are meant to be who you are. You might look different from life to life, but it's still you. It's still your DNA. Absolutely every time. Okay.
Wonderful. Louise asks you, Dolly, does your child who is on this earth possess the same gifts as you?
Yes, she does. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I didn't know she could levitate. And when she was about, I think she was 5.5, 6, she went to the top of a willow tree and she was up there. And I'm thinking, how did you do that? There's nothing for you to climb on up there. That's all little wiggly woo-woo branches. When I went out there, she went, oh, and she went boom, straight to the ground because she saw me. She didn't realize I was catching this. And she landed on her belly, but I think she stopped just short because she didn't break a bone or anything. She was perfectly fine, just out of air. And when she stood up, I said, floating? And she just looked at me like, and I'd get in the room and I'd find her near the ceiling, things like that. And she's very psychic. We're both very psychic. I know what she's thinking. She knows what I'm thinking, and we can communicate that way. She has abilities. Things will move. She's very, what's the word? She's almost, I don't know how to explain it. She just knows things like I did. Things come to her and she practices things, and she is also a mathematics genius, and she has synesthesia like I do. And my dad taught her how to do mathematics when she was 1 and 2, and by the time she was 3, she was already doing proportions and algebra. So yeah,
Wow.
I'd say she's all like me. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo Riders DG says, I have a few questions about the billions of years more advanced. So, Dolly, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, I'll start by giving you an understanding of why they don't measure time here, or archaeologically, they do the radiocarbon dating and stuff. It's a fallacy that it's correct. It has come out more than once in my lifetime. I know I've read papers where they debunk them because radiation has half-life. Radiation can also degrade by radiation coming in on it. It changes its composition and its wavelength. And so if you radiocarbon date something, you're dating something that has been affected by not only the radiation of the time that it was in, but all the other radiation coming in and bombarding it. So there's no way to get a real timeline. They're playing with us over that. They're guessing. And I'll give you a couple of, for instances, Giza, Cheops, and all of that. The main pyramid is more than 14,000. It's more like 17,000 years old. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is probably closer to 28,000 years older than. There are iterations on this planet. We have cycles of 12,000 and 6,000 years. We have every 6,000, we have a water event, and every 12,000 are sun micronovas and the poles change. And it's due to external forces coming in on us. This is serious stuff, and they've been trying to make sense out of it, and the proof is out there, but they've misdirected everybody to the truth of it because they've had at least 100 years of absolute knowledge of what's coming, and they haven't told anybody. They don't want you to know. Mm-hmm. They made up their mind that only so many people are going to survive this. There's only going to be so many supplies and food for this, and it's like 1 or 2%, and they decided who that was going to be, and the rest of us be damned. Okay? You're facing that. And they've used every technical or emotional or type of technique of hoarding us into a chute so that we believe only them, and we need to hear what they have to say about it before we think for ourselves. And it's serious, and it's why I stayed back. It's more important for humanity to hear the truth than it is to live a lie, and we are living one in real time right now, all of us. And it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up big time. You need to strive for that, because if we all did wake up at one time, they would not be able to do what they want to do. We would stop. Absolutely. And we would be prepared for this. Okay. That's the point. We all need to be prepared for this, not just them. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. For those of you who are joining us, just joined us, Preston Dennett is here, except he's having technical difficulties. And he's going to join us as soon as he can. And I'd like to pause for a 2-minute promotion now, and then we'll come back to the show. Everybody thrives when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change we wish to see in the world. Sometimes, though, we need a little help from consultation and support services. Have you discovered that this world is not what you thought it was? Have recent global events awakened you and leave you feeling unsettled? Do you feel isolated by your new, not so popular beliefs? It is a big shock to wake up and find that the old familiar world is gone. It can be disturbing to go down the various rabbit holes, only to find that the information is difficult to digest, and few people are willing to talk openly about it. Would you like to learn how to thrive in this new state of awareness? You are not a conspiracy theorist. You are awakening, and once you find your way through it, there are many blessings waiting on the other side. My name is Karen Holton, and I offer vital services that may be just what you need, and support for your journey into the weird and wonderful. Check out my awakening support and ascension consultation services, created to support individuals with their chosen alternative realities and lifestyles, health and recovery, and their spiritual adventures. For more details, check out the various vital services found on my website, and be assured that I have found personal success with every category featured. My website is www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton Healthcoach.com. Welcome back to the program. Just going to check the chat. We've got a question from Woo Riders DG, and Michael Kennedy says, hello, yay, Yay, Dolly and Preston. So as I mentioned, Preston's having technical difficulties, and Dolly will be right back, and we'll get on with the Q&A and answer your questions. So I want to take a moment while we're waiting for Dolly just to tell everybody how much I appreciate you all for being here today. And please do share this show out with your friends. We go live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, noon Mountain Time, and 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And you're more than welcome to join us. This is a different format than my other show, the Quantum Guide Show, which comes out every Wednesday. In this show, we include the live chat and the comments, and it's more of a community building show. And also we take your questions. And anyway, just thank you so much for being here with us. Hi, Dolly. Welcome back.
Hi. Preston is almost there. We had 3 CMEs hit us this weekend, and they mess with your systems big time, and everybody's trying to like reorganize, re-update, and do all that stuff. And if an update goes ahead of, you know how it is, it's IT stuff. So he's just restarted the computer, and he's going to try to get on after that. So yay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. So while we're waiting, here's another question. Is there a point to which an individual stops coming back in their place, where an individual reaches, I don't know, a level of awareness to where they can live eternally, like for say a heavenly realm? This comment's from Woo Riders DG.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Every dimension, there are 12 of them, by the way. We're in the third, and we're here. This is the toughest ground to learn on. And there's a reason for that. In Source, before we started doing this, we knew everything because we were in the mind of the All Mind. We can hear it thinking, it hears us, blah, 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 blah. But the minute we got given the gift of making our own choices, that sent us into here. And it isn't awareness that you're looking for. You can be aware. Awareness is your tool to use to learn. Awareness is your tool to ascend. Awareness is your tool to gain experience and then wisdom. Wisdom is the only thing you can leave here with in your consciousness and your experiences. Once you get to a certain level where this dimension you've figured out enough to be out of here, you ascend into the next dimension, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, 11, 12. There are beings in every dimension. Well, the first and the second one, I would call them shadow people. Their existence is very limited. They can see us and we can sometimes see them, but it's a weird existence for them. They're beginning here. Some of them don't want to leave. They just stay there for whatever reason. It is an exercise for us to learn all that is learnable, and then we proceed. And it isn't a decision on our part. It just sort of happens. When you've come to that amount of knowledge and that amount of wisdom, you're ready on your own. You already know you're ready. And the decision is that you go up into the next level of existence, which would be the fourth dimension. You can't skip. Every dimension has its own lessons. When you make it to the 12th, something amazing occurs. It took me a while to learn this, and I still am working out the ramifications of it. You will become interpersonal with the All Mind itself. In other words, you as an individual will be able to communicate with the All Mind. It isn't where you live, it's what you're doing. It's what you're using. It's your experience, your wisdom. You will eventually be able to create your own existence once you reach the highest level, and then where you go from there is totally up to you. We were given that choice. That's pretty heavy stuff. There is no such thing as laying around and being happy all the time. Existence is work. Challenging, but yes, it's work, all of it, even for the All Mind. You can't exist without motion. All energy has to have its own inertia. And think of it that way. You know, you don't do a day's work and then you lay down. That's not how it works. You're constantly evolving, constantly. Okay.
There he is. Hi, Preston.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I had technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm so glad you're here now. Everybody's been saying hi from the live chat. They're all thrilled that you're here. And yeah, we've been talking about all kinds of things. And but now it'd be nice to get your 2 cents worth in there as well. I shouldn't say 2 cents worth. That's not very complimentary. 2 cents isn't worth really. In fact, in Canada, we don't even have pennies anymore. Do you guys still have pennies in the States?
Yes,
We
yeah,
do.
copper is expensive stuff. Yep.
Yeah, we don't even have
A
them
penny
anymore
costs more
here.
than a penny to make, actually.
Yes, actually.
Mm-hmm. So welcome, and let's go to the next question. It is from Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. He says, I recently hear a reading from GF that on July 30th, an instrument will be deployed, satellite type, I guess, to create negative frequency Earth-wide. Have you heard of this?
Can't say that I have heard of this. It doesn't surprise me. Our secret governments are employing all their technology to
What
basically
if I,
do
yeah,
nefarious things.
what if I told you that we're already being impacted negatively on a level that is back engineered from ET worldwide by satellites over our heads and a computer, quantum computer that has control over that? That is true. They don't need to put any more in space. They've already got it through 5G telephones. All this technology hears you. It hears you and it can broadcast straight to your brain. So consider that.
Yeah, I would agree. And the other thing too is I don't know if like, I can see it as a conspiracy, but it might not be, all the crap they're putting in the foods, all the most of the food is not food. I go into the supermarket and around the very edges of the supermarket, there's the meat department, the vegetable department, the fruit department, the dairy section. Everything down the aisles is toxic. And once
Correct.
you wake up to that, it's a huge shock. And people's carts are full of hundreds of dollars of toxic food that's just going to make them sick. And of course, make them really good customers for the pharmaceutical industry. And so, I think that's dummied us down. I think our technology, even our Wi-Fi and cell phones and stuff, yeah, they're great to have, but I think that they're not necessarily that good for us either. And on it goes. And I got to tell you, look out into the world and you see what's going on. And I hope everyone will forgive me for saying this, but it's like we've become quite insane as a race of beings. And what a shame when we've got so much potential. Dolly and Preston, do you have anything you want to add to that, or would you like to take it in a different
Yeah.
direction? All up
Well,
to you.
I would say one thing. There is a step you can take when you go to the grocery store and you look at the ingredients. Right below it, in very tiny letters, you'll see genetically modified or not. Europe, if you buy your foods from that are imported from other countries, they're not modified. But definitely take a look at that. It's not in the ingredient section. It's right below it or next to it.
This genetically engineered food. Don't eat
Bioengineered.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can take that step, and it's not hard to do. You can still get pretty much everything you want, but some
Right.
major brands are absolutely complicit with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, in Canada, they don't have to label it. If it's GMO, genetically modified, they do not have to list that anywhere on the label. So, I think the only way people can go is organic, which is so crazy, scary, expensive, but it seems to be the only way to avoid the
Well, go
GMO.
get European brands,
Right.
because they
Oh,
don't do
yeah,
it.
European brands too.
Or
Yeah.
learn to grow your own food. Seriously. Find okay, if you need flour, find flour that's not GMO, that's healthy for you. Buy a ton of it and learn how to preserve it. You can either buy flour that's been uh, dehydrated. That lasts 25 years. You buy tons of that, you've always got flour on hand that's safe for you to eat. Grow your own food, grow your own types of grains that you need. There are seeds for that. There are companies that sell non-GMO grain seeds. Grow your own vegetables, grow your own fruit, put fruit trees up in your yard. Oh my God, how much yard have you got? If you've only got like a quarter of an acre, put 6 trees up. Fruit trees, feed yourselves. Get beehives, put beehives up. Honey's the best food there is. It lasts forever. There is no expiration date for honey. There are a million things you can do to eat. That doesn't mean you have to get in the car and go to the store and spend your money on it. Spend the money on the seeds, buy the trees, grow your vegetables, go to vegetable co-ops. If it's 30 minutes away from home, take the time to go. Buy all the canning stuff and can your own food. Freeze dry your own food. There's 1,000 ways to eat right. 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here in Canada, we have a very short grow cycle. 6 months out of the year, there's snow on the ground and it's quite cold. What I did this year, though, is I dehydrated bison and made my own tallow, mixed the bison with the tallow and made my own pemmican. And that has a shelf life of 10, 20 years. So I did that too. But I want to get back to the ET thing, if that's okay. And Dolly, you answered this earlier, but I'm wondering if you can get a little bit more into it, or if Preston has anything to add. And that is that according to contactees and experiencers, there's like thousands of different types of grays out there with competing agendas. And I find it a bit crazy making. And some are evil, some are good, some are this, some are that. Some people have had horrible abductee experiences. But I'm wondering if you can narrow it down. How many, like I know, Dolly, you explained that we're all one, we're all, Homo sapiens sapiens, but could there be different versions of the grays, or is there only one version? What's you guys' take on that?
Well, I'm going to start it and Preston's going to finish it, okay? Basically is the shadow governments have been confusing, overriding, teaching wrong, and absolutely abducting people and putting ideas into their heads that are not real. The fake abduction scenario is serious worldwide. And I have a name for it. I call it being MK'd or my lab or whatever. But they're out to make you crazy and believe wrong things. This I'm going to say, and I'm going to let Preston explain it better because he's better at it than I am. If you have an ET experience where they're shoving needles in you or scooping parts of your body out or leaving marks on you, that is not real. He does not do that ever. Okay. They might put an implant in you, but they don't leave marks and they don't injure you to do it. And they're very specific and it's non-invasive. People who have really, really bad experience come in two categories. Those who don't understand what's happening to them and are terrified because they've been taught to be terrified. And then those who are tortured. And those are MK Ultra or MyLabbers. And there are billions, well, I wouldn't say billions, that's too many. Let's say millions of people in this country alone who've had that. And they're repeating that to supply agenda to the shadow governments of what we got coming. Okay, Preston, go.
All right. I mean, I think this is really kind of a two-part question in terms of, different types of grays. How I would answer that is, here on Earth, we have humans and we're not different races, even though there's terms like racism and you're a different race than me, no. And if you were to line up all the people on Earth and compare their height, their weight, their face shape, nose, eyes, mouth, skin color, all of it, you would have a diversity that's far more varied, I think, than is recognized. We are incredibly different in our ancestry and the way we dial our DNA. And it's a wonderful thing. I think it's awesome and beautiful. And we've been taught to say, oh, this is different, this is foreign, this is alien, when really we are all one. And frankly, the diversity is so great here on Earth that you could pretty much put all the ETs in there and they would fit right in. They really would. I mean, there are some people who look ET. And I'm not trying to, say this in a cop-out way because, yes, you can see a gray and that's definitely different. But the difference we see in the grays is the same phenomenon, for lack of a better word. It is the same thing. There's a huge different types of ancestries in all species. But when ETs tell contactees, and they do it over and over again, you are us, we are you, we share a common heritage, this is what they're trying to say. We all are humanoid. I get real flack on this sometimes. Like, how can you possibly say this is true? ETs look just like us. This sounds like Star Wars or Star Trek. Yeah, it does. And the fact is, this is the way it is. You can't walk away from the evidence and what it's telling us. We are all one. We are much more alike than I think we realize. This is exactly what the evidence is showing us. And we just have to accept it, that this is the way it is. We live in a universe where the humanoid form is the universal template. I don't have a problem with that because I think it's the truth. Now, second part, negative experiences versus positive experiences. This has been a controversial aspect in this field from day one, really, since I got involved in this field. It was certainly a question: friend or foe, hostile or benevolent. And I think Dolly kind of hit the nail on the head. There's people who don't have fear, have an experience that another person might find incredibly frightening, and have no problem with it. They sail through their experience and they like it from start to finish. There's others who are, it was kind of a mixed bag for me. It was quite frightening in the beginning, but I came to realize, that they weren't there to hurt me or harm me or cause fear or anything like this. And then you have people who don't like their experience, period. It was incredibly frightening. And I respect that. I mean, this is their experience. Mm-hmm. And having interviewed so many people and read every darn book I can find, you can pretty much, how would I put this? A diagram, the onboard UFO experience and what to expect from it. And being physically examined is definitely one of the most common things people experience. And this is incredibly frightening for people. It's incredibly frightening for people to be physically examined by an Earth person who they know for sure. I mean, they go there voluntarily to be examined, to have their health checked up, and they still have a real hard time with it. Mm-hmm. Now, add in, an ET doing this in a manner that people perceive, and I'm underlining that, perceive is against their will. Because there's people are kidnapping you against your will. How can you possibly say this is benevolent? Like, hold on a second here. People may perceive it that way, but I'm not sure that that's entirely accurate. And this is another really controversial aspect, because this is one thing a lot of contactees, especially in the beginning, complain about, is a sense of loss of control. They don't feel like they asked for this, when in fact, the more I research this, it looks like they did. And when an ET comes down and a person is saying, no, stop, help, I'm afraid, there's another part of them. They're speaking to the entire totality of a person's consciousness. And a lot of us, due to the dumbing down of drugs and fear, are only skimming the surface of our actual awareness, our actual consciousness. Yeah. Part of us is saying, oh, yeah, I did agree to this, let's go. And another part is absolutely in terror. And you can see this because as a person continue to have contact, they start to access more of their consciousness and become incredibly psychic. ETs are trying so hard to enhance this or wake it up or help people along with this, because ETs understand what's happening. They're a little baffled, I think, by the intensity of our fear, and that's why
they're not. They know exactly what. Yeah,
is don't be afraid, have no fear.
I have to tell you that.
We're trying really hard to make people understand that they're not here to hurt you, and some people just don't get past this point. Now, this is
I want to make something clear to everybody.
A negative experience, because as Dolly said, some people are, as she said, MK'd, and it's not ET. So there's a lot of confusion here. Yeah. I'm with Dolly on this. ETs are not here to hurt you. They're just not. Think about it. They've been around forever. They have better things to do than to come down to little old Earth and torture people. It's not happening.
I have an exercise for everybody to undertake. This I want you to do absolutely across the board. Everybody hears my voice. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to get a book, blank pages, and a pencil. And every time you watch TV, I want you to write down when you hear the words, pay attention to what's being said to you, especially by the media. This is frightening. Be afraid. We're in trouble. It's a disaster. It's a this, it's a that. Every negative connotation that comes across verbally to you, write it down and why. Okay? You are told verbally over and over and over by the media for the last 50, 60 years to be afraid, to fear everything. This person's going to do that. Now we have a separation politically where one side doesn't believe the other, and they're all accusing each other of the same bloody, stupid things. And they don't hear them saying it because the media is propagating it and making it worse. You need to pay serious, critical attention to what you're hearing. Turn it off. Whatever music you listen to, if it's telling you to be afraid or hate or hurt that person, turn it off. Quit imbibing it like it's chocolate milk. Let it alone.
Yeah.
Playing games that teach you to be vicious and murderous and hateful. Turn it off. Our brain is a habitualizer. Our brain is made that way so we survive on this planet. You are easily taught to hate. You are easily taught to fear. You're easily taught that only you can make that stop. They want you to feel this way because their intention toward us is to make you fear the one thing that wants to help you, and that would be outside of here, ETs. They have an agenda. This is real. And if you start listening, critically listening to what's going on right now in the world, we're so close to things falling apart. We're in the beginning of anarchy. There's going to be a short food supply. There's going to be no money. We're going to crash this. We're going to go to war. I mean, everything is 100% negative. And the only people it's coming from is them, not ET. ET's not on the radio every day telling us all this crap. They are.
Mm-hmm.
Please listen to who's saying it and who's not. And now I'm going to tell you something else that I know. I know that I've taken care of people in the ER who are damaged, horrifically damaged, and we get them in and they lose their minds. I'm not hurt. Let me go. I don't need stitches. I don't have a broken bone. Don't touch me, because they think we are going to hurt them, that we're going to put things in their body they don't want, or we're going to do things to them to control them. And that's because it has gone so far with the fear teaching that now it's exploding in this direction. It's insane. It's totally insane. Humanity, you are correct, Karen, when you say we've all become crazy, because they've instigated it. And we need clear thinking. We need consciousness. We need to meditate. We need to use our abilities, because that's the only way you're going to see what's really going on. The only way. Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend who stopped watching any television that was after 9 p.m. because every single channel featured murder shows in any one form or another. Like, he boycotted TV because of it. He's like, I can't take it anymore. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch TV for years. I mean, I do watch the odd show on Netflix. I watch, a bit of stuff on YouTube or Rumble, but I don't watch TV. I can't handle it.
I watch the cooking shows.
There you go.
Home improvement shows.
So we have to guard our sanity as part of guarding our health. I think that's really what we're saying here. I'm wondering, Dolly and Preston, do you have time for me to ask you one more question?
Sure.
Okay. And Dolly, you did speak to this earlier on, but I'm wondering if you can get a little bit more into it. And that is, with all the experiences that are being floated out there, sometimes I don't really know. So I'm going to ask you, are the Greys indigenous to this planet, or do they come from a specific star system, or do they come from different star systems? Where are they from? And just can you tell us more about that?
They're at least 1 billion years in advance of us, so they've had time to move out into the universe. The tall Gray's homeworld is in the Orion cluster. And if you look at the belt of Orion, based on, like you turn it up and you see the arm going out, the sword, and you see the body, and then the 3 stars in the belt. On the right side of the belt, just down from it, is a big star there. That's the system they're from right there. It is, we refer to it as Orion 2. And or Orion B. It's Orion A, Orion B. And part of it is Orion A. This star cluster has a couple of systems in it. They have a home world. It's pretty big. It's been there, that's where they're from, and it's still viable. They operate from there, and they call it Neoma. It has a name, Neoma, and it means the people. Star seeds, like native indigenous peoples on this planet, know this. They have a name for native, and it's a little short version of Neoma. And when you hear them say what they are, you hear it, and you go, oh, that's very cool. Woo, same language. The shorter grays have moved, the ones that are about our height, have moved out into Zeta Reticuli. They have a world there. They migrated there. Okay, it's sort of like us going west, and they live in those systems. In Zeta Reticuli, which is part of the Milky Way, by the way, there are places like the Delphi system, and a lot of us, ethnicity-wise, comes from the Delphi system as well. The tall whites, the Nordics, I am not allowed to tell you where they're from. They absolutely forbid me, and I have to respect that. That is for them to reveal, and only for them to reveal. And they don't think we're evolved enough to handle it. So they are very closely related to us. They are a lot of our DNA to begin with, them and the Anunnaki. And so I'm stuck with having to tell it to you that way. Most of the ET ethnicities, all of them, we're a part of. We have little teeny bits of them over the eons in our DNA. We breed back and forth. And just like we breed back and forth with each other now, finally, thank God, we understand that we're the same. We just, dime out short, tall, fat, skinny, darker skin, lighter skin, that kind of thing. All our traits amplify as well, because the more diverse your DNA, the better, stronger individual that you're going to be as a person. So yeah, but we're looking at Orion, Zeta Reticuli, the Delphi system. Those are the main three. There are others out in the universe that we will be introduced to as a as a people soon, us personally, Earthlings, because we've got to have somewhere to go. And everybody in the Milky Way is getting ready to completely bug the hell out of here, because we have Andromeda coming. And let's go back to time and date and understanding how things move in the universe. It's not 1 million or 2 million years before Andromeda hits. It's about 38,000 years. That's not enough for us to repopulate this planet again after what's coming. So that we're going clean across the universe next to some really cool places, because I've been to them, and very Earth-like, very beautiful. But you have to know the truth of that. And for you to know that, like I said, wake up, use your abilities, learn to psychically connect with them. You'll learn the truth that way.
Wonderful. And Preston, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't have a whole lot of information about where the ETs come, because, as Dolly says, a lot of them aren't willing to reveal too much. I think because of our violent ways. So that's always been a bit of a mystery in the UFO field. But I can say that Orion has come up many, many times. I was really delighted to hear it from Dolly, because that is something that I have heard from other contactees.
Yeah. And I'm going to teach you 2 words, because I have been given the permission to start this, and I'm starting. There are 2 words that you need to understand, because if you see an ET and he speaks this word to you, you need to understand that this is real. Okay. The word for me, at. The word for you, ut. At, ut. And this is one that if they say this to you, they're talking to you. To say, I am ready. I'm ready to bring you. It would be atriar, like that. You got to roll your R. At, I am ready. Atriar. And if you see a gray or a tall white or somebody say that to your face, get on board, because that's what they're eventually going to do. They're going to come land all over this planet, open the doors and say, atriar, or get on now. And if you hear it, you'll know the truth of it. I'm laying the foundation for that. This is an actual language that they speak. At, ut, atriar. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we're coming to the end of the show, but I want to give you each a few minutes to give us your closing comments, anything you want to say, words of wisdom, and where the viewers and the listeners can find you guys?
Go, Preston.
All right. Well, first, Karen, thanks for having us on the show. I'm sorry I had technical difficulties, but did get that figured out. I'm very easy to reach on social media, whether it's Facebook or Messenger, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm a little bit slower at that. So probably best way to reach me is through my website. Just punch my name, it'll take you there. I would encourage people to do their own research into ET encounters. Never take anyone's word at face value. On my own YouTube channel, I've put over, I think it's close to 2,000 humanoid cases from firsthand witnesses. Look to the contactees to find the truth about ET contact. Don't believe our lying governments. Don't believe anyone. Do your own research. Belief and knowledge are two different things. It's fine to hold opinions. We all have them. I think that's inescapable, but ultimately it's knowledge that will lead us forward. So yeah, just allow love and truth to guide you. Have compassion for others, and collect as much knowledge as you can, because that's the only thing you can take with you is knowledge and experience. And I think that's the best advice I could give anybody. And I would just give one more plug to Dolly and I's podcast, The Light Gate, airing
Yes,
Monday evening, 8 to 10. And also working on next book is Symmetry 2. A lot more information coming out in that one. So thanks again, Karen. It's fun. Sorry I couldn't be here longer.
no, that's okay. I understand. We'll hopefully have you on again soon. Thank you so much. Yes, Symmetry 2. So in the introduction, which you missed, Preston, I did talk about your book that based on Dolly's experiences, and there's a number 2 coming out. And another thing is your YouTube channel. This will all be in the links below. I love watching your shows because you give us a wealth of information, so many different kinds of experiences. Anyway, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us, Preston. Dolly, what have you got happening? What would you like to say, and where can people find you?
Okay. Next month I will be in West Virginia, and I will be speaking for the very first time on as a singular person before a group of people, and they're going to put it out on live stream. And I'm going to give you as full a story or a full explanation. Not really a story, it's an explanation of what's really going on. And it's a presentation that I'm putting out, and it's a pretty big group that asked me to come, so I'm doing that. I'm on the Light Gate every Monday night at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern with Preston, which is fun. And then I'm also on Messenger. I'm on YouTube as well. I have some movies and photos out there, and I'm on, I started X. If you talk to me on X, I'll talk back to you now. And I'm on Instagram. There's photos of Talata and stuff like that on Instagram. And I have one thing that I want to read to y'all. This is from Talata. This is the craft that I fly. He is the entity who indwells the craft. And it's so important. And he wanted it at the beginning of Symmetry, so I'm going to give it to you now. It is, be strong in love. Love is what carries through. Love is what heals. Love is the strength of life. Love has no limit. Therefore, let love become who you are. Let love evolve to its fruition. Let the light that is love burn bright. Let its wisdom guide you to higher understanding. Let its power move you to teach its power to others. Love, be strong in love.
Wow, beautiful.
I love you. Thank you for having us on.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And like I said, I'd love to have you back on again. And thank you to all the listeners and the viewers. I appreciate you so much. Come back next week. The topic is ET and toxic humanity. So that's a good subject. And I'm looking forward to all of your comments. And I wish you the best week ever. And we'll just say bye-bye, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Essempler from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.